Hey besties, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be teaching you how to make amazing cheesecake without heavy whipping cream. Yes, you heard me right, and the taste is absolutely amazing. Let's get into this video right now. The first thing we're going to do is to prepare our pans. I'll be using this aluminum pan. Okay, you can use a spring pan, whichever one you have. Just make sure that this pan is not leaking, and for this method you need your parchment paper, which I've cut. So if you're making a size 6 cheesecake, all you need to do is cut out a size 7 round parchment paper, and then you want to butter your pan. You can use butter or margarine or even a spray, whichever one you have. Now insert your parchment paper into it and make sure that it adheres to your pan. And for the side of your pan, you want to measure that height of your pan and then use that to cut out the side. And I think my pan was about 3.5. I didn't measure it, but I just used the height of the pan. Once you cut it out, you now insert it into your pan. Make sure the parchment paper adheres to the pan. You want to do this carefully so that everything is resting and is properly adhered to the pan. And remember that I mentioned that you can use any pan of your choice, but make sure that that pan is not leaking. And if you're using parchment paper, make sure you measure it out the way I just explained. Okay, this makes it easier for it to come out when it's fully baked. So now that I've done the first pan, I'll repeat the process for the second pan. This process is very important, and this is what you should start with, because the next step will be for us to create the base for our cheesecake. I'm done now. I'll set the pans aside and grab my base. So for my base, I'll be using the Lotus biscuit, and I'm using the 250 gram for this particular recipe. And you can use as much as 500 grams. It just depends on how big or how thick your crust you want your crust to be. But before I go ahead to crush my biscuits, I'll take out about 6 to 7. Okay, I just want to use 200 grams for the base of my 2 pans. Now you need to note something. The height of your cheesecake is dependent on the quantity that you are putting or you are baking, and dependent on the size of your pan. So I can use the same quantity of cheesecake that I'll be making today. I can use it for a size 7 pan. The only difference will be the height. So if I bake it in a size 7 pan, it won't be as high, unlike when I bake it in a size 6 pan. And you can also bake your cheesecake even without the base, without this biscuit base. Okay, that can be used for your cake slices. Just follow the same way I use the parchment paper to prep the pans. So now I have 200 grams of my Lotus biscuits, and all I want to do is to crush it. We need butter for our recipe, and to melt your butter you just need hot water. Okay, just dip it in a bowl of hot water and your butter will melt. You want to use butter and not margarine, please, because cheesecake, if you can spend money buying cheese, then you should be able to afford butter. You want the taste to be really nice. You can see how fast the butter melted. After crushing the Lotus biscuits, I shared it into 2, that's 100 grams each, into the pans. You can also do this mixture in a different bowl, but I just prefer to put it in the pan like this. And I added 2 tablespoons of melted butter into the mixture of this pan right now, and I'm just using my spoon to mix it together thoroughly, and I'm going to spread it. And to further lock it in and just make it, firm, I'm going to use the cover of one of my bottles. I really can't remember. I think it's my shimmer bottle or something like that, or pigments or sprinkles or something like that. And then I'm just going to use it to press it down just for it to be firm enough. To be honest, you can use any biscuit base. Okay, you can use any flavor of Oreos, you can use Hobnobs, you can use digestive, you can use crackers. So if you're using any biscuit that is not sweet, you can add a little bit of sugar to it before you add your melted butter. Mix it together and then make your base. Now that our base is ready, all we need to do is pop it into the freezer for a few minutes while we make our cheesecake. The recipe for this cheesecake will be added to the description, or maybe the end of the video you can check. Okay, so the first thing I have here is my 1 tablespoon of freshly squeezed lemon juice. I have 250 grams of granulated white sugar. You can reduce it if you like. I have 200 grams of eggs, and that's 3 large eggs. If it's small eggs you have used 4, just make sure it's 200 grams. I have 50 grams of whipping cream powder. Use any brand that is good and stable. And to that we need room temperature water, the same measurement, which is 50 grams. We're going to mix this together, and this is what we are substituting our heavy cream for. And I have 800 grams of full fat cream cheese. Okay, the brand I'm using today is Legal. Okay, you can see what it looks like. And just wait to the end of the video to find out my review about that brand. Okay, no advert here. Okay, so in a clean stainless bowl you want to add, or in any bowl, your glass bowl, whatever bowl that you have, just get a bowl, add in your cheese into it. Okay, make sure that your cheese is not cold, it must be at room temperature. That makes it easier for you to whip up, that makes it easier for all the ingredients to combine. Grab your hand whisk and you want to whip this up until everything is properly mixed. Okay, you don't want any clumps of cheese anywhere, you just want everything to be mixed and smooth before you add in your sugar. And you can be within 1 to 2 minutes this will mix properly. Just mix it till you have a creamy consistency, then you can start adding in your sugar gradually. Because you're using a hand mixer, if you dump in all your sugar, it just might be too much for your hand mixer at first. I've added in the last batch of my sugar and I'm going to mix this until everything is properly incorporated. Remember to scrape down the sides of your bowl so that everything can be properly incorporated. You don't want any lumps of cheese hanging around. When making cheesecake, I get better results using the full fat cream cheese. Okay, I've also used Philadelphia cream cheese and it's really nice, so if you can get your hands on it, it's also equally good. You might not get the same result using the sachet cheese, okay, that you can find on your counter. And I know that L&V also has cream cheese that is in a container. I think it's 500 grams they sell it. I haven't tried that. PUCK, that is pork. They also have a brand of cheese that is in a glass container. It's equally good. The royal blue color, the cover is royal blue color, is equally good, but I can't compare it to this Legal or Philadelphia cream cheese. So these are the two that I can guarantee. You can try those ones out and let us know how it goes. The thing is that some of them contain, you know, high amount of water. Now you want to go ahead and add in your eggs one at a time. This is one step that you need to be very careful of, so don't over mix this batter at this point. Once you've mixed your cream cheese and your sugar and you've mixed it properly, reduce the speed of your mixer and the amount of minutes you spend mixing, okay, the other ingredients into it. Okay, you want to get a very beautifully baked cream cheese, don't skip this step. So add in your eggs one at a time, mix it until it's just, you know, combined and you can no longer see the egg yolk. And that should just take, I didn't fast forward this so you can see how long it took me to mix this. Okay, so this is in real time. I didn't fast forward this particular video. Okay, do not over mix, please don't over mix. Another tip that can help you not over mix is for you to, you know, just whisk your eggs together and then add it in batches and just use your manual hand whisk to combine it. Okay, if you're not sure that you can use your mixer. For this recipe we'll be using 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, which is what I just dropped on the table. I'll move the cream cheese base away, the lemon juice, so that I can bring out my whipping cream powder. I mentioned you can use any brand of your choice, and that's 50 grams of whipping cream powder. Just use a stable brand. Okay, and now I'm going to pour in my 50 grams of water, room temperature water, into it. This is ratio 1:1. I have a small hand whisk, but if you don't, you can use a fork, and you can reduce the quantity of your water when you are adding it. So you can add half first and mix it. When it's a bit thick, then you add the remaining half and mix it. Just mix it for, like, you know, less than a minute, or a minute is fine, until everything is properly dissolved. And then this is what we're going to use in place of our heavy cream. How cool is that? This works so well, and you don't have to waste your money, you know, buying heavy cream that you probably will not need for something else other than your cream cheese. Okay, so you can now make your substituted cream for your cream cheese. You can also use Greek yogurt. Just make sure that it's at room temperature. Measure out 100 grams. Any Greek yogurt will work, but for best result, just use full fat Greek yogurt, and you can see what the consistency looks like. Once you leave it for like 5-10 minutes, it will get even thicker than this, I promise you. So you have no reasons to be afraid. You can say thank you in the comments. You're welcome. All you need to do now is pour it into your mix. Okay, pour it into the batter. Yes, and with the help of my spatula, I'll combine it together. The reason why I'm not using my mixer to combine it is so that I don't add too much air into the batter. And you can always use your manual hand whisk also to combine if you have it around the corner. I don't know if mine is around the corner, so I'm just making do with the spatula around me. Now that we are done mixing the cream into the batter, I'm going to add in my 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. Now when you are combining this lemon juice, because of the presence of milk in the batter, it might curdle a little bit. Not to worry, just mix, a little bit. By the time you add in your flour, everything would combine and you won't see any lumps, okay, and it won't curdle anymore. Once it's combined, you grab your flour and then pour it into it. Some people like corn flour, but I'm okay with all-purpose flour. If you don't have all-purpose flour, you can use corn flour, and you can also do a mix, half and half, corn flour and flour. It depends on you. So I have 2 tablespoons of flour and I'll just mix it into this. To help it mix evenly and faster, you can also take out a little bit of your batter and then mix your flour into it. You now transfer that into the main batter and it would help you mix fast without getting any lumps. Flavoring is optional. You can decide to flavor your batter and you can decide to leave it plain, whichever one is fine. I chose to flavor this with vanilla, okay, and that's a 1/4 teaspoon, that's 1/4 tsp, and I'll just use my hand whisk to just slightly combine it together. I think there was something inside the batter. I had to take it out with my spoon. After mixing everything up, you can see the consistency is thick, and this is what we have. It's time for us to grab our pans out of the freezer and fill it up. We're going to measure it using our electronic scale. So this is what it looks like. You can see how firm it is. If I turn my pan upside down, it's not going to move, and you can see the other pan. We're going to measure out, for starters, I'm going to measure out 500, but I just divided it into 2 and I wasn't sure what the amount it was going to give me, but I know it was going to be over 500. So the total amount I measured was about 650 each in the pans. If you're still watching up to this point, thank you so much. As always, like, drop a comment or a question. The suggestion is also welcome in the comments. The most important one is the subscription. So subscribe is totally free of charge. You want to go ahead and turn on your notifications to receive all notifications so that you be the first person to be notified when next I drop a video. This month is going to be lit because I'm going to be dropping different recipes for you back to back, and you do not want to miss it. Trust me on that. I'm done measuring and I have about 650 thereabouts in each of the pans. I just shook it around a bit and slammed it once just to take out any excess air bubbles inside it, and this is totally optional, but you can go ahead and just use your spatula, okay, to smoothen the top part of your cheesecake batter so that it can bake maybe more beautifully. By now you should have preheated your oven. Let's say maybe when you were after preparing your base and after popping it in the freezer, you should turn on your oven and turn it on to 300 degrees Fahrenheit, okay, and you want to go ahead and wrap with a foil paper. Yeah, don't mind my foil paper. I couldn't get a foil paper and I didn't know that the foil paper I had at home had kind of finished, so I had to just make do with this one and I improvised. So all you want to do is just wrap it around, okay, try and squeeze it together as I'm doing in the video. Just wrap it around. It doesn't have to get to the top part of the pan. So once you're able to get your foil paper around it, you're good to go. This is just an extra precaution to avoid the water that we're going to be pouring in our baking tray, okay. We don't want it to seep into the pan in any way, okay, so we just want to be extra careful. Now some people bake cheesecake without steaming, okay, but I'm not going to risk that. But it is very possible. The only thing is that you will not be able to bake it at high temperature. You can't bake it at 300 degrees Fahrenheit, maybe something around 260 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know. You can try it and let us know in the comment section. I mean, there's no harm in trying, and I always love to carry out experiments. So if you are like me and you love carrying out experiments, let's know ourselves in the comment section. Okay, so just wrap the other one like that. I forgot to mention that you need hot boiling water. So in your pan, so this is the pan I'll be using to bake my cheesecake. You can use aluminum pan, okay, and you can use this dark pan. This dark coated pan is just going to darken your cheesecake a bit, just in case you want to bake without steaming. It's better to use the aluminum pan to bake without steaming, but I'll prefer to steam bake my cheesecake to avoid stories that touch. I bake my cheesecake at 300 degrees Fahrenheit for 1 hour 30 minutes for this particular size, and I do not open my oven for any reason at all. As long as I have adequate water in my baking tray, I'm good to go. Once I open the oven after 1 hour 30 minutes and I want to check if my cheesecake is fully baked, all I need to do is just touch it a little bit in the middle, and if it's a little bit, firm, I know it's fine. Or I just tap the pan slightly, just slightly. If you tap your pan too much, once your cheesecake is baked, it will have a crack on it. If you overbake it, it might deflate or it might get burnt and turn brown at the side. You are going to bake this for 1 hour 30 minutes without opening your oven door. Please, emphasis on that. You have no reason to panic as long as you have adequate amount of water in your baking tray, and anyone can bake a beautiful cheesecake as long as you can follow these instructions I just gave. After 1 hour 30 minutes, you want to leave your oven door closed for at least 30 minutes before you bring out your cheesecake, okay? You don't want to move it around like my assistant did. Once you are done baking, do not open your oven door until about 30 minutes to 40 or 1 hour. Then you bring out your cheesecake. At that point, everything would have firmed up a little bit before you start moving and jiggling things around, if you get what I mean. And you will notice the crack on top of the first one I held. That was due to the tapping or over tapping, and this one kind of overbaked. Once your cheesecake is completely cool, pop it into the freezer for like 5 minutes so it can firm up a bit for you to remove it and wrap it in cling film, and you leave it overnight refrigerated before you decorate or you work on it. It's better when it's frozen. This was for a customer, and I added my whipped cream on top of the cheesecake, and I used my scraper to scrape the sides. You can even make it neater than this. I piped on the top of it and used my strawberry sauce in the middle. I added my lotus biscuits on it, and this was how we delivered it. Now for the second one, I decorated it also with whipped cream frosting. It's quite optional. You can just put a little bit of jam, okay, beat it a little bit and rub it on the top, add some biscuits on it, and you're done if you don't want the whipped cream frosting. And let's just taste this, guys. Oh my goodness. Cheesecake is, I don't know, there's just something about cheesecake. The taste is amazing. I mean, if you love cheese, you should try out cheesecake. Okay, so you're not having the money to buy heavy cream, or you don't want to buy heavy cream and it will waste. That is now a thing of the past. You can now make your cheesecake without breaking the bank. I want to tell you something about this cheesecake. Everybody lined up their plates waiting for a slice of this cheesecake. Guys, I only had maybe a slice or so, and they finished this cheesecake. It tasted so amazing. But honestly, I hope you try out this recipe, because I was supposed to sell this class, but then my amazing YouTube family, I don't know, you guys mean so much to me, and I just thought to put it out there for anyone who just wants to try out cheesecake, and even professional bakers who don't know how to bake cheesecake. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in my next video. I'm so excited for this one. Bye guys. I love you guys.